Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord is about, well, easygoing territory defense by the Optimistic Lord. But honestly, I really like it and find it plenty easygoing, quite fun and entertaining. It's quite a good kingdom building anime that focuses less on the political stress and more on the fun of building a sandbox kingdom. So here's why Easygoing Territory Defense by the Optimistic Lord is such a comfy kingdom building anime. The Optimistic Lord is fun, and unlike most isekai MCs, he wasn't gifted with absolute and unlimited power. Don't get me wrong, he has a shade ability that allows him to manufacture just about anything he can think of, and because he's from another world, he has plenty of ideas. But despite being born into high nobility, he didn't have a guaranteed track to success. And I mean, you don't get sent to be the lord of such a shabby rural village because your family likes you, right? When young, Vaughn was doted upon because of how clever he was. He was good at school and he was learning the blade. But of course, because this is an isekai, you need to be good at magic too. Well, Vaughn has the so-called most unfortunate magical aptitude, which is production magic. Most people who have this magic can only make small things which drain their mana fast and can easily be created through normal means. But for his cheat ability on top of otherworldly knowledge, he has no energy limit on what he can produce, where we see him make whole homes and even fortress walls without breaking a sweat. So his dad who abandoned him sure is egg on his face now, huh? Especially because he basically kicked Vaughn from the family after sending him to the most remote village. But luckily that's kind of exactly what Vaughn wanted. Because he's been isekai'd, he wanted an easygoing life, having fun doing whatever he wants. And being the kid of a noble, well, cool, yes, comes with a lot of red tape and responsibility. So being kicked out to a shabby village with zero expectations being placed on you, while having magic that can create anything you think of course you had plenty of fun making things, upgrading the village, and making everything as comfortable as possible to have an easy-going life. And that's exactly what Vaughn did. Luckily, Vaughn isn't alone when he gets to the village. With him are a few knights, including the Knight Commander, his family's best butler, who's a top-tier earth magician, party of adventurers he hired to escort him to the village, his butler that he, and of course his maid. These people are the ones who actually saw Vaughn's strength. They taught him how to use the sword and saw his potential in it. So even if he couldn't use strong magic, they believed that he would be strong in the sword. Esperata taught him knowledge and saw how gifted he was in intelligence. And the adventurers saw how kind and good of a leader he was when defending the village from bandits. So they all quit their jobs to be with Vaughn because they trusted him so much. And they're the first rung needed to build a kingdom. Trusted allies. The second thing you need is obviously citizens, and the village that they just saved is more than willing to accept any help they can get. So Vaughn starts building out his territory. The village he's supposed to manage is so run down that it's not like he's gonna make anything worse, and because it's his land and the person who's supposed to be overseeing him doesn't care what happens to him at all, he's got zero red tape preventing him from building and making whatever he pleases. Giant city walls holding armor-piercing ballistas, they were made in a day. Esperata has earth magic, so he makes dirt walls. Then Vaughn produces real walls from all the dirt. And the adventurers find a mine with a ton of ore that Vaughn turns into ballistas. They dig a fortified aqueduct to make a whole lake so they have an easier access to water. Then they make even bigger walls with even bigger ballistas, and Vaughn eventually decides to build a whole other town outside of the massive town he's already building, so mass amounts of adventurers can stay there without getting in any of the villagers' way. He just does so much good for all the people in the town, and it's so much fun doing it. And yes, there is some territory defense, like against armored lizards and a dragon, but moments like those don't really take away from the sweetness this anime brings, but instead gives Vaughn more resources to make and do even crazier things. And the anime has a very cathartic stick-it-to-them principle in place somewhat. I talked about this with the father. He treated Vaughn terribly, so eventually he's gonna get his just desserts. But in terms of kingdom building, merchants are needed for towns, right? Without them, no money goes in or out, which is a problem for the economy. So instead of having to choose the greedy merchants who wanted a quick profit that the kingdom recommends, Vaughn is actually able to choose two merchants that look ahead a bit, and instead of getting rich quick, want to build relations with Vaughn because they see how awesome he is. So he gets to stick it to all the greedy merchants who now don't get a massive payday or good relations with Vaughn. Then there's nobility. Vaughn is still technically his dad's kid and now on his dad's land, so anything of high value they found on the land, like a dungeon, is technically owned by his dad. So if he wants to truly get back at him, he's gonna need a court name, so he becomes the owner of the land. Well, his main connection to nobility after his dad cut him off is Panamera and Art. Panamera was a commoner who got much glory in battle, earning herself a court name. Addis is the daughter of another noble who was gotten rid of, One, because she has marionette magic, and so the new Lord of the Land doesn't impede on Ardstad's lands. But as you can see, that's a double getting back at them nobility combo. Vaughn gets his own court name and creates a super awesome city. Art then marries him, thus the two kids who are banished from their families are suddenly living it up nice. So it's very cathartic in that manner. Anyways, Vaughn and crew eventually defeat a dragon, so Panamera uses it as an opportunity to spread the name of Vaughn, the Dragon Slayer, who luckily she forged an alliance with, so if he grows, so does she. And because he just slayed a dragon, his renown will grow, eventually giving him his own court name, making his easygoing life even better. But yeah, I always loved kingdom building anime, and having one as sweet and chill as this one would never be a bad thing. I mean, this anime is just chill as hell, so if you're in need of a nice anime, why not watch this one next? Sadly, there probably won't be a season 2 for a while. We're almost halfway through the available manga, and though the light novel does have a bit more, it's probably not enough. Oh well, I just really like this anime, so I wanted to talk about it. That's about it. I'm Ainai, and bye-bye.